There's a two-word lie that's responsible for the slow, silent death of more relationships, but your eyes are telling a completely different story. They're telling a story of pain, of fear, of a history that's when those experiences don't get processed, the nervous system gets stuck in survival mode. Next, toxic patterns. The unspoken trauma becomes a third person in the relationship. Figuring out how to even start these conversations is incredibly hard. It might be to push, to problem solve, to get it says, I see your pain even if you can't talk about it. There's a two-word lie that's responsible for the slow, silent death of more relationships than any of us can count. It's not some dramatic movie scene betrayal. It's much, much quieter. It's the answer you give when your partner looks at you with eyes full of concern and asks that simple but hopeful question. What's wrong? You look back with a forced smile that doesn't quite reach your eyes and say, I'm fine. But your eyes are telling a completely different story. They're telling a story of pain, of fear, of a history that's sitting right there in the room with both of you. This is about what happens when I'm fine stops being a little white lie, starts being a wall built to hide a world of pain. And it's about how that wall, brick by brick, eventually causes the entire relationship to collapse. Let's paint a picture. We'll call them Kiki and Mikey. We'll bring them back. They're in the living room, the TV is on, but nobody's watching. The air is just thick with everything that isn't being said. Mikey turns to Kiki, who's staring at a spot on the wall for the last 10 minutes, jaw tight, shoulders hunched. Mikey asks gently, Hey, you okay? You seem a million miles away. Kiki flinches, just barely, as if woken from a dream. For a split second, something raw and unguarded flashes in her eyes. Fear maybe sadness. But it's gone as quickly as it appears. The mask slides right back into place. Yeah, of course. Just tired. It was a long day. Mikey waits. He knows this script. He's seen this movie a dozen times. Are you sure? It feels like it's more than that. We can talk about it if you want, he says to her. And there it is, the invitation, the fork in the road. One path leads to connection, to vulnerability, to messy, complicated, but ultimately bonding work of a relationship. Well, the other path leads to a dead end. Kiki chooses the dead end. Honestly, I'm fine. Don't worry about it. The words themselves sound harmless, right? But the energy behind them is a fortress. What they're really saying is, you are not welcome here. This part of me is not for you. Do not ask again. And slowly, over time, Mikey stops asking. Not because he stops caring, but because he learns that reaching for Kiki is like reaching for a ghost. He learns that his concern will only be met with a polite, impenetrable wall. The silence that follows isn't peaceful. It's a vacuum. It's a space that used to be filled with laughter, with shared secrets, with easy intimacy of two people navigating life together. Now it's just filled with assumptions and quiet resentments. Mikey starts to think, maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I'm not a safe person to talk to. He starts feeling this quiet desperation, a loneliness that's 1,000 times worse because he's sitting right next to the person he loves. Well, and Kiki? Kiki is sitting inside her fortress, feeling a totally different, but just as painful kind of loneliness. She isn't saying, I'm fine, to be cruel. She is saying it because deep down, she is terrified. Terrified that her real feelings, the anger, the grief, the fear rooted in the past she never dealt with, are a burden that's too heavy for anyone else to carry. She believes her needs are too much. Maybe she opened up once a long time ago and it backfired. The feelings were dismissed, minimized, or perhaps even used against her. So her brain learned a critical lesson. Vulnerability is dangerous. Honesty gets you hurt, and armor keeps you safe. So she says, I'm fine, but what she's really screaming is, I'm drowning, but I will not pull you down with me. Or perhaps, I'm so afraid you'll leave me that I'll give you nothing to leave me for. She's trying to control everything to manage her partner's perception of her, because the alternative, letting her authentic, messy, wounded self be seen, feels like a risk she just can't take. And it's utterly exhausting, performing the role of the okay one. The cruelest irony? The very thing she is doing to preserve the relationship is what's guaranteeing it will starve to death. You cannot connect with performance. You can't build a life with a ghost. This pattern isn't just a case of bad communication. It goes so much deeper. When someone constantly uses "I'm fine" as a shield, they're often operating from a place of unresolved trauma. And trauma isn't just about huge catastrophic events. It can be the slow burn of childhood emotional neglect, the chaos of growing up in a volatile home, a painful betrayal in the past relationship, or chronic stress that left you feeling unsafe. When those experiences don't get processed, the nervous system gets stuck in survival mode. Think of your nervous system like a car. You've got the gas pedal, your fight or flight response, that revs up in the face of threat. And you've got the emergency brake, the freeze response, that shuts everything down when threat feels too big to fight or escape. Trauma can leave you with one foot slammed on the gas and the other slammed on the brake, all at the same time. You might be constantly on edge, scanning for danger, while also feeling emotionally numb and disconnected. Saying "I'm fine" is often a version of that freeze response. It's an emotional shutdown. When a partner's question, even a loving one like "what's wrong?" feels threatening on a subconscious level, the brain's top priority isn't honesty, it's safety. The logical part of your brain quiets down and the survival-oriented part takes over. In that moment, your brain isn't choosing to lie, it's running a pre-programmed survival script that says, don't reveal yourself, don't show weakness, shut down, and you'll be safe. This is the difference between hiding and healing. Hiding is managing an image. It's curating a life that looks good on the outside while you feel disconnected or suspicious on the inside. It's constant performance. Healing, on the other hand, is the messy, uncomfortable work of actually turning toward the pain to make sense of it, allowing your emotions to flow without complete system shutdown. The lie of "I'm fine" is born from these deep-seated beliefs that trauma leaves behind. Beliefs like, my feelings are a burden. If I show you my pain, you will leave me. Conflict is dangerous and has to be avoided no matter what. I can rely on myself. Needing someone else is a weakness. These aren't conscious thoughts you're having. They're implicit memories stored in the body. They are the ghost in the machine, the invisible operating system running your relationship. So when Kiki tells Mikey, "I'm fine," it's not really Kiki, the loving partner, who's talking. It's the traumatized part of Kiki, the part that learned long ago that survival meant becoming invisible. That part isn't trying to sabotage relationship, it's trying to protect Kiki with old but outdated tools that are now doing more harm than good. Every time "I'm fine" is used as a wall, it's like dripping a slow-acting poison into the relationship. At first you barely notice it, but over time the effects are devastating. First, it destroys trust. But not just the way in the... Why can't I read this? Every time "I'm fine" is used as a wall, it's like dripping a slow-acting poison into the relationship. At first you barely notice it, but over time the effects are devastating. First, it destroys trust, but not just in the way you'd think. The partner like Mikey doesn't just stop trusting Kiki. He starts to stop trusting himself. His own gut is screaming something is deeply wrong here. He can see it in Kiki's eyes and feel it in the tension between them. But Kiki's words are saying, "You're wrong. Everything is fine. Don't look here." It messes with his head, and this can happen to anyone. Over time, the person on the receiving end either decides they must be going crazy, or they decide their partner is a liar. Neither option leads to a secure connection. Eventually, they learn that reaching out is pointless, and they just stop. That quiet question, "What's wrong?" which is an act of love, dies out. Second, it starves the relationship of the one thing it needs to breathe: authenticity. A relationship can't survive on performance. Intimacy isn't built on pretending everything is perfect. It's built in the messy, vulnerable moments where we share our fears and our pain. When one person is constantly hiding, they create an emotional void. The other person is left in a relationship with a mask, not a human being. This leads to a profound loneliness for both people. The person hiding feels unseen, and the person shut out feels rejected. The armor that keeps the pain in also keeps the love out. Third, it forces you to reenact toxic patterns. The unspoken trauma becomes a third person in the relationship, directing the whole show. The partner hearing "I'm fine" might become a fixer, always pushing and probing, trying to solve the mystery, which only makes the hiding partner retreat even more. Or they become detached and resentful, pulling away to protect themselves. This often mirrors the very dynamic that caused the trauma in the first place, a cycle of chasing and withdrawing. The relationship stops being about two people connecting and becomes about two wounded people dancing around a pain they can't name. Finally, it perpetuates a state of emotional numbness that's incredibly confusing. For many trauma survivors, the experience isn't feeling too much, it's feeling nothing at all. They might say, "I'm fine," because on some level they genuinely feel blank. They know they should feel sad or angry, but there's just nothing. There's actually a clinical term for this: anhedonia, the inability to feel pleasure and its core symptom of trauma. A partner can easily mistake this numbness for indifference or a lack of love when it's really deep rooted survival mechanism. It creates this tragic feedback loop of misunderstanding and pain. This isn't just a communication breakdown, it's a soul breakdown. It's the slow, painful process of a relationship dying of thirst while standing right next to the well, all because one person is too afraid to admit they need a drink, and the other has forgotten how to offer it. Figuring out how to even start these conversations is incredibly hard. It's why I've put together a free, gentle communication toolkit. It's a simple guide with scripts that you can use to start these tough conversations in a way that actually feels safe and productive. If you feel stuck in this cycle, you can download it for free at the link in the description. Think of it as the first step toward replacing that wall with a bridge. So what do we actually do? If you're the one saying "I'm fine," the answer isn't just dynamite the wall and expose everything at once. That would be completely overwhelming. The goal isn't brutal honesty, it's courageous connection. And that starts small. It starts by replacing the lie with what I call a gentle truth. A gentle truth is a statement that's honest about what's happening inside you without forcing you to share the entire backstory. It honors your need for safety while still giving your partner something to connect with. It's like removing one brick from the wall instead of blowing the whole thing up. The next time you feel the words "I'm fine" rising in your throat, just pause for 1 second. In that pause, see the impulse for what it is, a defense mechanism. Thank that part of you for trying to keep you safe. And then try choosing a gentle truth instead. It could sound something like, "Honestly, I'm really having a hard time, but I don't have the words for it yet." Or, "Something feels off and I'm trying to figure it out. Can we just sit here together for a minute?" Or, "I'm feeling super overwhelmed right now and just need some quiet time. I promise it's not about you." Or, "I don't feel like talking, but could I just get a hug?" Do you feel the difference? Each of these statements validates what your partner is sensing. They're right, something is wrong, but it also protects your boundaries. You're not required to unpack your entire life on command. You're allowed to need time. By offering a gentle truth, you're telling your partner, "I see you're reaching out for me, and while I can't give you my whole hand right now, here's my finger. Please hold on." This is how you slowly build trust, both in your partner and in yourself. Now, if you're the partner on the receiving end, the one hearing "I'm fine," your job is just as important. Your first instinct might be to push, to problem solve, to get the real answer. You know, the "I know you're not fine, just tell me" sort of energy. And while that comes from a place of love, it feels like an interrogation to someone whose nervous system is already on high alert. Pushing will only make the wall taller and thicker. Your task is to create safety, is to make the space around your partner so secure that they eventually feel brave enough to offer a gentle truth. When you hear "I'm fine" and your gut tells you it's not the whole story, try responding with validation and patience instead of pressure. You could say something like, okay, I'm here for you. If you want to talk, if not, I'm not going anywhere. Or you can say, I see you're struggling today, and I'm sorry. I don't need to know why. Just know I'm on your team. Or, it sounds like you might need some space. I'll be in the other room. Just let me know if you need anything. Now, these responses send an incredibly powerful message. It says, I see your pain even if you can't talk about it. I respect your boundaries, and my love for you isn't conditional on you letting me in. You aren't abandoning them in their silence. You're sitting peacefully outside the fortress walls, letting them know they are not alone. You are modeling what a safe, non-anxious presence feels like. It's not about fixing them. It's about creating an environment where they feel safe enough to start healing themselves. The habit of saying, I'm fine, when you're breaking inside is not a character flaw. It's a sign of everything you've survived. Your brain learned that hiding was the only way to get by, and it did a brilliant job. That strategy kept you safe then, but now the armor is heavy, and it's keeping you out of the very love and connection you need to heal. The opposite of I'm fine isn't some dramatic, tear-filled confession. The opposite of I'm fine is a quiet, courageous choice to be just 1% more honest. It's the choice to offer a single, gentle truth as an invitation for your partner to come closer, not a wall to push them away or keep them out. Healing isn't about erasing your past. It's about interrogating it so it becomes one chapter in your story, not the whole book. It's about learning slowly and carefully that connection doesn't have to be dangerous. So here is your hopeful next step. The next time you feel those two words in your throat, just pause. Take one deep breath. And in that small silent space between the impulse and the action, you will find power. The power to choose differently. The power to choose connection over performance. And the power to choose healing over hiding. If this resonated with you, subscribe for more conversations about building deeper, more authentic relationships. And I would genuinely love to hear from you in the comments. What is one gentle truth you could try using instead of I'm fine? Sharing it might just give someone else the words they've been looking for. Hope this is helpful.